All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Irrational Confidence Podcast. We're talking college football and we're recapping week number 7. A great week, another great weekend in college football. And I'm joined by the man who is the biggest Swiftie fan here out of the Irrational Confidence Podcast. He was passing out friendship bracelets at Chicago's airport. My co-host Fresh. Fresh, how you doing, buddy?
Perhaps. I have no idea what any of the Swiftie songs are, or Swift or Taylor Swift nonsense, but whatever. Rock on. If it keeps Travis Kelce catching touchdowns, I'm cool with it. Doing good up here in Chicagoland area for the weekend. Stopped by the Division III national champion North Central Cardinals Stadium. They were on the road this weekend, but sort of gave them a shout out. It's where my aunt went to school, a bunch of relatives, and my dad went there for about a year and a half. So had to swing by and see that facility and pay homage to their achievements there. But all in all, doing good.
All right, Fresh. Well, it's cold up there. I love it. But let's go. Who do you got? Let's start off real quick. Heisman vote. Let's talk about this kid because we both got the same Heisman Trophy winner right now.
I mean, the show that Michael Penix Jr. put on, Nix did a great job too, but the way he was out there just slinging it left and right, leading the Huskies to a great win late, showed the poise down the stretch. It shows he has the moxie, he has the stats. The team's obviously phenomenal. They're charging. They have still some games lined up, obviously, to continue to add to that resume. But so far, it looks like he is definitely number one, and even I think was boosted by Caleb Williams' struggles in South Bend that really, I think, supplanted Penix as the lead dog right now in the race.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got Penix Jr. as well, get my Heisman vote if I had one. The kid's just remarkable. Every time you thought, put him down and out, and there he is. The thing that impressed me the most in the Oregon game was his ability to kind of just stand there to the very, very last second in that pocket. Oregon would be just coming down on him. Those defensive linemen were just breathing down his neck. And there he is. He's delivering strike after strike to his wide receivers. Great game out of him. That was my game of the week. We get a lot of these marquee matchups here, Fresh. And we talked about them coming into the weekend. We talked about them on Saturday. We preview them every single week when we have a marquee matchup. And very rarely does a game live up to the hype. 2 weeks ago, Oklahoma, Texas, really huge hype game, lived up to the hype. Oregon, Washington, game we both talked about, told people that the over was going to come in, bet it immediately, and we really hyped up, said this was going to be one of the best games of the college football season, and guess what? It didn't disappoint. Bo Nix played his lights out. Penix Jr. was the man out there. Washington getting its second straight win over Oregon. Loving everything the Huskies are doing. And one of the things that we saw, dust is settling out there in the Pac-12. We talked about this early on. All those teams going to beat up on each other, and there's only really going to be one left standing. And right now it looks like it's the Huskies.
Oh, definitely. But after everything you said, I totally agree with. But the one thing I'm going to end with is I want to give a shout out to Dan Lanning taking ownership of the loss. You don't see that many times where coaches own the loss. It's on me. I made the mistake. I made the bad call. And, we see, I'm going to use Shane Beamer as an example. Every loss this year for South Carolina, he's blamed it on somebody else. At some point, you're the head coach. You've got to own up to a loss or a win and decision-making that you make down the stretch in key situations. And him doing that, it shows that he has the mindset. He just has to get the team over the top, and you've got to beat quality football teams with quality coaching.
Right. What was your game of the week here, Fresh?
My game of the week was on Friday night. Thursday night, maybe. Thursday night, West Virginia, Houston. Absolutely just bonkers chaos. 42 total points in the fourth quarter going back and forth. If you watched the game, if you weren't watching, Thursday Night Football on NFL, if you were paying attention to Pat McAfee live tweeting the entire ball game, you just got the environment of how much just the anxiety level for both teams. It was the Dana Holgorsen Bowl. He actually coached at Houston, was at West Virginia, going back and forth. But then the last minute and a half, 2 touchdowns in the last minute 17 on the Hail Mary. I don't know how you don't knock that ball down. We always say knock it down. You hear people screaming knock it down, but somehow Houston pulls it off and gets a big win. West Virginia was on the cusp of my top 25. But that late, you thought they got that game. They thought they saved themselves and pulled it out. But then that late collapse on the Hail Mary, it's just tough to put him back in the top 25 ranking going forward. But an all-around bonkers football game, the kind of things you want to see, midweek action. just college football at its finest, where there's no end. It's just touchdowns back and forth and absolute nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Fresh. Who's your offensive player of the week?
Poof. Offensive player of the week, we got to give a shout out to Oklahoma State running back Ollie Gordon II. 29 carries, 168 and a touchdown, 6 receptions, 116 yards and a touchdown. Oklahoma State's win over Kansas. They've beaten both schools in the state of Kansas in back-to-back weeks. We thought they were down and out 2-2 after a couple struggle losses, especially losing to South Alabama. And then, hey, Mike Gundy, he showed everyone he's a man, and he got those Cowpokes playing pretty well. They got 2 big wins. Let's see if they can keep carrying it forward. But big job there by Ollie Gordon, second way to carry the load for the Cowboys and get a big, much needed W.
Yeah, my offensive player this week was from that amazing UNC Miami game. UNC wide receiver Devontae Walker, I'm sorry, there, 6 catches, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns, had big play after big play for the Tar Heels, getting a huge W. We thought that game would be a little bit closer than it was, but Drake May and Walker just have this unbelievable connection. We talked about coming into the season, UNC was losing Josh Downs, who was going to step up as Drake May's primary receiver, and I think he's got a guy. Who's going to be pretty special over there in Chapel Hill. So he's getting my offensive player of the week. And Fresh, I'll throw it over to you. Who you got going on the defensive side of the ball?
Defensive side of the ball, not too far from where I'm currently sitting. Safety, Xavier Watts for Notre Dame. 6 tackles, 2 picks, forced fumble recovery, touchdown, 1 pass breakup. And honestly, you could have given it to anyone in that entire defense or the defense as a whole. Even Al Golden, the defense coordinator, the scheme that he put up there to shut down the Trojans. They only scored 20 points. They forced 5 turnovers. Absolutely amazing by the Irish, but Xavier Watts led the charge and he got the huge W for Coach Freeman. I think a signature win for that Notre Dame program that shows that they are still there and they are heading in the right direction there in South Bend.
Yeah, Fresh. I was very, very tempted to pick another defender on that Notre Dame defense, but that was a remarkable job out of them. I wanted to stay away from that just because I knew you were going to talk about them. So I'm going back to the other game that you were talking about. Oklahoma State doing also on the defensive end. Hey, you had their offensive player week. I'll give one of their guys, Colin Oliver, had 7 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 tackles for a loss, and a forced fumble. Also got his paws up and defended a pass. Great game out of him. Oklahoma State doing it on the offensive side, but also doing it on the defensive side. Real impressive job out of him.
I mean, the way that they've sort of rallied, you see the guys flying around making plays on defense. And even though Jalen Daniels isn't playing for Kansas, they'll have Devin Neal there and way to shut him down and keep them sort of contained to get a big W. It takes both sides of the ball, and it was a heck of an effort from him.
Right. All right, Fresh, let's go to our top 25. I know me and you are very different on this week. Go ahead, Fresh. I'll leave it up to you first.
Well, I've made some changes after we had early shared mine with you earlier today, but I'm going to go number 1, Georgia Bulldogs. I'm pulling my bias there, but number 2, Washington Huskies. 3, Michigan Wolverines. 4, Ohio State Buckeyes. 5, Oklahoma Sooners. 6, Florida State. 7, Penn State. 8, Oregon. 9, Texas. 10, Alabama. UNC is at 11. Oregon State at 12. Ole Miss 13. Notre Dame at 14. Duke at 15. Just outside my top 15, I got Tennessee. Utah is sort of hanging there. I got Air Force at 20, Missouri at 21, James Madison at 23, and I put Oklahoma State at 25. A couple honorable mentions. We're kind of running loose on who's actually want to be a top 25 team right now, but honorable mentions, Toledo, Miami of Ohio are playing great. Liberty is 6-0. Rutgers looking at pretty good at 5-2. And you know what? Arizona, the way that they've played Washington, the way they played USC, almost getting wins there and then destroying Washington State. They are right there on the cusp. They just need to string some wins together for the Wildcats, and they could jump into the top 25 for me.
Yeah, I got Arizona also as an honorable mention. I want one more game out of the Wildcats there, but they would be, I think they're very close to the top 25. I had a hard time. I really debated them. But, folks, I'm about ready to really set the Twitter world on fire and the comment section on fire here. So go ahead, whatever you need to do, leave your hate tweets for me at the bottom. One thing I'm going to let you know, guys, I operate off of the 2023 football season. I don't care about what you did in 22. I don't care about what you did in 21. It's about 2023 only. This one hurts me because I had to have a very honest moment with myself. And when I asked myself this question, who is the best, most complete team that I've seen so far in college football, and it's the team in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I have them. I have the Wolverines sitting at number one. I am very critical about the strength of schedule that they've played. They haven't really played a whole lot, but at the same time too, they're beating the living bejesus out of everybody, and it's been in absolute dominant fashion. Florida State sitting at the 2 spot. Ohio State is at the 3. Both of them have big time marquee wins. Washington jumping up to number 4 after that big win versus Oregon there. I have a lot of respect for what the Huskies are doing. I really do love what they're doing. Number 5, Penn State. Penn State as well. They got a huge matchup. We're going to know how legit Penn State is. They're similar to the Wolverines because they haven't played a ton of competition, but they've been in absolute dominant fashion. I got the Oklahoma Sooners at number 6. And yes, I have the defending national champions, Georgia Bulldogs, all the way down at number 7 right now. My problem is fresh. And again, people want to criticize me about that. That's fine. Go right ahead. Leave your comments at the bottom. But giving up 20 points to a turd of an Auburn team, and then also giving 20 points to Vanderbilt. That Tennessee game can't come soon enough. Like, I need them to play somebody on their schedule. UNC, big win out of them. I got them at number 8 right now. Can't wait to see them matched up against Florida State. Looks like in the ACC title game. Texas at 9. Alabama at 10. Oregon and Oregon State at 11 and 12. Duke at 13. Big time matchup for Florida State for them. Ole Miss is at 14. Notre Dame is now back in the top 15 for me. Utah is at 16. Tennessee, LSU, Missouri, 3 SEC teams 17 through 19. I'm going to put USC at number 20. I dropped them really far down because I thought they were exposed, especially with that defense. UCLA, both of their losses are to really, really good football teams. I don't really want to drop them too far out of the top 25. Still like what they're doing in Westwood. Louisville is coming in at 22. Air Force at 23. Liberty at 24. And the James Madison Dukes, baby, are going to be my number 25 team. I got Iowa. I got Arizona just on the outside for me looking in. I still have West Virginia. I'm not going to completely bury West Virginia after that loss to Houston.
They're
I got
right there.
They are too. They're right on the outside. And I got a soft spot for the Mountaineers. I'll be honest with people. I'm very, very soft on the Mountaineers. But again, I told you guys, I was going to shake things up this week. And again, it's all about the play on the field in 23. So guess what? If you don't like what I said, leave it in the comment section below. Or go ahead, at IR Confidence Podcast on the X. You go right ahead. Send those tweets my way. I'm more than happy to ask you the questions. But yeah, Fresh, that's where I'm sitting with my top 25. Big weekend coming up here. It's crazy because I don't feel like we have a really legit powerhouse top team. I think there's still about 8 to 10 teams that they get into that 4-team playoff. They got a legit chance at winning a national title.
Yeah, I mean, now we're really ramping up as we hit the stretch run of in mid-October through November. You got 6 weeks left for the most part. Games get more important for everybody because the strength of schedule matters, and how pretty are the wins, how ugly are the wins. Everything's
Right.
going to be over critiqued. And before we got 3 weeks probably until the college football playoff rankings for the first time come out. So that will really be justifying the rest of the way. Before you jump to the next thing, I got 2 questions for you. Number one, how much did the legal eagle, your brother-in-law, pay you to rank Michigan number one? And are you doing this on purpose to make Ohio State's win over a number one ranked team in 5 to 6 weeks, justify them as being the number one overall seed as they beat the number one overall team in the country?
One, neither, because he knows that my vote is never for sale one way or another. And the thing that, again, Fresh, if those who know me know that I will not willingly and happily put the team up north as the number one overall seed. But at the same time, too, if I've always stood on my thing of going, you know what? It's just who you think is the best team, looking at it for passing the eye test and what I think. Again, 2023 was what matters to me. Everyone wants to throw out different things that have happened in years prior. As for them having, again, Ohio State's got to run through both. They got to worry about Penn State before they can even get to the Wolverines area at the end of November. I'm much more worried about Penn State this week than anything else like that. But we'll see. We'll see, because Penn State still also got to handle business with the Wolverines. So there's a lot to talk about there. But yeah.
I just wanted to have those on the record so we have, totally, in proper conditions that it's all stated here in October.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, give me another week here. By week number 9, I think my top 25 rankings changes like the wind. So
that is true.
Yeah, I usually have a different thing, but again, it's not until the last one. It can change, but all right, Fresh. Great week number 8 in the books, and folks, guess what we have for you? Just because we have crossed over 870 subscribers, we're going to try something new. We're bringing you bonus content this week. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we're going to have a bonus episode coming your way. We have a really great game that you may not be on your radar. We're going to bring it to you. We're going to send a bonus episode. So make sure you subscribe, get notified every single time we drop a new episode. Leave us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts from. Guys, I don't know them all. So Apple, Spotify, Good Pods, any of those, blah, blah, blah. And hopefully, ladies, you caught the last of the little bit you knew my co-host Fresh was walking through the Chicago airport. So if you're a lady who loves talking college football, you found him at the Chicago airport. And there we go, Fresh.
Well, thanks for the words there, Hap. So I do have a question for you. Who's your dud of the week?
Oh, I forgot about our dud of the week. Our dud of the week.
I'll let you go first, and I have mine, but I'll let you knock out your dud of the week.
Well, it's me and you.
We're duds every week, really. I mean, that's a given.
But we really, really screwed the pooch on the Iowa-Wisconsin game. And if you go back and listen to our Iowa-Wisconsin preview here, folks, we missed the mark on that one tenfold. Apologies to Kurt Frentz and the Iowa Hawkeyes. We gave them no shot. We gave you no shot of winning. And you proved us wrong. We completely, we forget that Iowa usually plays really good defense out of anything that they can do. And Tanner Mordecai getting smacked on the helmet and not being able to throw the football usually has an impact. So great job out of the Iowa Hawkeyes, and a dud goes to Fresh and I this week. So mess that one up.
That was rough. Badgers couldn't do anything. Iowa, it's what, 15-6 final. It wasn't. I think America lost by having to watch that game. But hey, Iowa, now they're in the driver's seat for the Big Ten West. My dud of the week, it could have been a lot. Could have been USC, Colorado, Kentucky, Wazoo, Caleb Williams' Heisman campaign, Jimbo Fisher. But it's the Louisville Cardinal. You're coming off a huge win over Notre Dame. You're playing Pitt, and you guys just laid an egg. Jake Plummer comes out. Yeah, you threw for 350, but 2 picks and a fumble lost, giving the game away. Really could have built your profile and continue to soar onward and upward. And it kind of makes that Notre Dame game look less and less impressive with that dud you laid there versus Pitt. But hey, a long season ahead, and the Cardinals are okay but that was still a painful moment to watch.
Is Louisville like Stanford, and it's Cardinal and not Cardinals?
I think they're Cardinals. I just decided not to use the S.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. All right, folks.
They played like one instead of a whole flock. I'll put it that way.
Well, and good thing is you said that they can still soar up there the rest of the season, pun intended. All right, folks. Hey, we won't ever forget dropping our own duds this week. So make sure you guys subscribe. Like I said, visit spinnablesports.com. Yep, because the Irrational Podcast is part of Irrational Confidence Podcast. It's part of Spinnable Sports. So make sure you go to spinnablesports.com. And special thanks to our producer, Drew. Without him, none of this is possible. And that's all I got for this week. We're putting a bow on week number 7 and on to week 8.
Yep. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Remember to visit us on the website and Twitter /X. And with that, we'll see you in week 8. Bye, y'all.